to me like, I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin, pronoun she, her, and hopefully by now, you guys may have seen a short that I made. I don't think I posted on YouTube. I posted it on TikTok and YouTube, showing off a tree that I made, a Christmas tree full of handmade ornaments, and these ornaments were characters from a series called The Nursery Nurse as Gingerbread characters. I have been obsessed with the Nursery Nurse for a good 3 years now. I haven't really talked about it because the only merch you can get is really only available in the UK, unfortunately. Um, so I decided to make my own for this. I always decorate for Christmas in my fandom, so I really wanted to do this. And I want to make more. I made literally a dozen characters off camera, and here we are making two more. I am going to be making Janice and Deliah, two of my favorite characters. More Deliah than Janice, fully honest. But I'm using some polymer clay. This is Sculpey Original. Not the kind that I usually would want to work with because it's a lot weaker. Uh, it's not nearly as strong as the Super Sculpey or even the Cos Clay. I really like Cos Clay. It's the best. But it's harder to find. And this stuff was cheaper, and I got it on a good sale at Michael's, so we're gonna use it. You see me rolling it out here, and you saw a couple times me digging in with my X-Acto knife. That's because I was finding air bubbles in it. Unfortunately, there were still a few air bubbles in the end product, but this is going to be Janice, and Janice wears all black, so it usually just gets, like, canceled out. You can't see it as much when it's fully painted black, thankfully. So I got a piece of plastic wrap here over my clay, and I'm going to take my cookie cutter and just press it into it. Usually saran wrap works better, but I only had Glad, it works. And then I cut it out with my X-Acto knife. The reason why you put that piece of plastic over it, that sheet of plastic, is to give it a curved edge like a cookie would honestly look after being baked. So it just makes it look a lot more realistic whenever you're trying to make something look uh, more real, like food wise. So, like for cookies or anything that you're trying to make out of clay, this is a good little hack for it. A lot of people use it for fondant as well for actual decoration, edible decoration. But I can't cut all the way through it either because of the resistance plastic makes. So then I just cut it out with my X-Acto knife. Once it's cut out, I take one of my sculpting tools and just try to go over the edges anywhere where it's like a sharp point. I try to fix anywhere it's looking a little jagged. I try to smooth it out. It's not going to be perfect. It's handmade, y'all, okay? Imperfection makes it better, right? It's handmade. It's going to be imperfections. We're just going to have to all deal with it. But you can make it look a little bit nicer with a little bit of smoothing. So here you can see I rolled out another piece of clay and just took the general shape of her hair. So this is going to go on the back of our sculpt here. And this is where we're really going to start giving it a lot of definition and making it look specifically like Janice from the Nursery Nurse. So I'm using the back of my blade and scoring both the hair and the back of the piece. And I'm going to use some liquid Sculpey and sort of bond them together. This is going to stay liquid until it's in the oven, but once it's in the oven, it essentially acts like glue, and it will seal both pieces together. I also put some liquid Sculpey all around the sides of the head, and I'm going to take some clay and roll it into snakes and build it up so it doesn't look as awkward of a space. Basically, you're just filling in the space between the head and the hair right here. You're not trying to make it look like the actual character yet. You're just trying to make it look a lot more seamless. So I take that snake, I cut off the ends, and then I take my tool again and I start smoothing it into the back of the hair just to try to make it all one piece. Once that hair is built up, that's when you really start adding the details to make it look like the actual character's hair. So I rolled out a little smaller snake to try to make it the front part of her hair. Notice how I did that prior to putting The liquid Sculpion, I've learned that lesson before. You plan it out and then you put the glue down. And once I have the front part of the hair done, again, I'm going through and I'm going to smooth it into the back. Obviously, I'm going to leave the details in the front, like the part that's hanging over her arms, unsmoothed. I'm not going to try to blend that in. But I do want the top part of the hair, again, to look as seamless as possible. So if you saw that video where I showed where I made the others, I've been giving them all a little accessory just to give them all a little bit more personality. I gave Marjorie a can of appetizer. I gave Autumn her baseball bat. With Janice, I'm going to give her her favorite murder weapon. I mean, her favorite sweet treat. I'm giving her some cotton candy, candy floss, whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to make it look like a little cone of cotton candy. Hopefully it comes across. But I do have a trick later on to make it definitely look a lot more like actual cotton candy. Getting my baking pan prepared, and I use a piece of foil and put it directly underneath the hair of these figures to make sure that the cookie part itself, like the body, stays as flat as possible while baking. Now on to Delia. So to achieve her hairstyle, one, I'm going to put the little tendrils in front without blending them into the back like I did to Janice's. And I'm also going to stick 2 wires, as you can see, into her head. This is going to support her little pigtails. This is the same thing I did with Sorsha. Basically, I put these little wires in, I coat them with the Super Sculpey, and then I just place the little clay pigtails in them. And then the only smoothing I do on the pigtails is to hide the wire and to make the little gap that happens as seamless as possible. The liquid Sculpey will help in making that gap more seamless, but a little smoothing does help. And then, of course, the only accessory I could have for Delia is a little doll, and I knew this was probably going to be a mistake, but I decided to try to do it anyway. Obviously, I know she probably collects more porcelain style dolls, like actual collector dolls. This is going to look more like a rag doll. I did my best. That's all I could say. I've never sculpted a doll this tiny. Basically, I just sculpted the body, put some wires in for the head, arms, and legs, and just stuck them all on. Now, the one problem I made really early on was not making these wires long enough. You'll see why. After they are baked and cooled, I drill a small hole into the head, and I've already super glued a little jump pin into each one to make them into an ornament later. You could have done this prior to baking with the liquid Sculpey. I just prefer to do it this way. So I'm skipping most of the painting journey here because it's pretty self-explanatory. But what I will go into detail on is how I'm making the cotton candy texture. So I'm using this stuff called Snowtex, and I honestly can't tell you what the hell this stuff is. It's basically some kind of acrylic paint mixture that when it dries, it gives you the texture of snow. But I've added multiple colors to it in the past to give it to make it look like, gravel or moss or grass or whatever. In this case, I'm going to put a little bit of blue in there and mix it up and give it that blue tint, and I'm going to apply it onto the sculpted cotton candy to give it a little bit of texture, and again, just make it look a little bit more realistic and so that you can tell what it is. Also, before anyone says anything, yes, I do realize that I painted Janice's sleeve wrong. I don't know why, I've always seen that top and thought that it was sleeveless, half sleeveless. But it's not. I saw it took seeing a random edit on TikTok that I realized, whoops, I made a mistake. So I do fix that. Unfortunately, I do it after I put the sealant on, as you can see. So when I do these gingerbread ones, I start out with a layer of the sparkle Mod Podge. This is just to give it more of a candy kind of feel to it. And it wasn't until I had the first coat of sealant on Janice that realized I forgot to paint the backs. When I do the backs, I just go in with that gingerbread brown color and just do a coat on the back. A few of the other ones I've done 2 or 3 coats, but honestly I'm running out of that color tube right now. So I just put a single layer, and really and truly it's just so if you do hang it on a tree and you look at it for a certain angle, it doesn't look like a clay piece from far away. It still looks like a cookie. The second coat of sealant is my matte Mod Podge. And this is because I made some Pokemon ones last year, right? And I stored them the way I do normally. I wrapped them up in paper towels. And when I got them out this year, I realized the paper towel stuck to them. For some reason, the Sparkle Mod Podge is a lot more tackier, even when dried, than any other Mod Podge, or at least the ones that I've used. So I've been putting a layer of the sparkle one on first and then a layer of the matte one on next, and it keeps it from getting as sticky. I'm just gonna put this in there. I literally was just trying to put them on the tree, and I actually dropped Janice off there, and I had Deliah sitting here, and she fell off, and both the legs off the doll broke. So I'm gonna take this back upstairs. I did not put the wire in them as deep as I thought I did, so that's more my fault. So you have to super glue those back before we can put her on the tree. So there we go. We have Deliah with her doll. I did just glue the legs of the doll back on. They're not perfect. When I get more time, I want to get this video done. But when I have more time, I'm going to go through and patch it with epoxy. I might even just break the legs back off and just do it again with epoxy sculpt, because that's going to be very, very strong. I should have just done the doll in epoxy sculpt to begin with, but I honestly didn't even think about it. But something this small of limbs definitely needs something stronger than original Sculpey, but whatever. So I put her down here on the tree about as far away as I could from Char, so it works. And I put Janice all the way down here. There's not really enough spots on the tree left to put them at like the other legs, like in the middle or top. So yeah, I'm still wanting to get a tree about the size of my pride tree next year, hopefully, so I can keep making some more of these ornaments. But let me know if there's any other characters you guys want me to do. Don't have to do them for just Christmas. I'm happy to make these all day long, all year long. But yeah, last year I made Pokemon. This year I'm making the Nursery Nurse. Who knows? This might just be a thing from now on where I do a different fandom into gingerbread form. Who knows? I just kind of went full guns on this one because I love them so much. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought, and remember, like always, it's community, non-competition. I'll see y'all later. Bye.